Welcome to the Cinemagic Preview Show. On this edition, we will be previewing Gints Zilbalodis' animation adventure, Away. What will our young Cinemagic reviewers think? Today I'll be reviewing the film Away, which is about a young boy and a bird as they travel across a mysterious island in hopes to return back home.
Away is the directorial debut of Latvian filmmaker Gints Zilbalodis, who has previously worked on a number of short films, the most recent which being the 2017 flick Oasis.
Away is an animation about a young boy who is trying to escape a dark soul on a mysterious island and find a way back home.
It is a story about a boy who finds himself landed on a desert island alone, and he journeys his way across the island to get back to civilization, and he meets a bunch of different characters and animals along the way.
All the design was made by one person, Latvian director and animator. Amazing.
Away is one of the most impressive directorial debuts I've seen in a very long time, particularly as Zilbalodis wrote the script, helmed the picture and also composed the score for this feature.
This animated piece is made entirely by one single filmmaker, which is absolutely astounding that he pulled together every single aspect of this film by himself.
Was really impressed that this gorgeous feature-length film could be accomplished by a crew of just one, and I think that is an amazing feat to acknowledge.
Away is a remarkable achievement in animation because it has no lines of dialogue. Its use of score is quite sparse but very effective, and it has quite a mysterious narrative to it. You don't really get the full picture of what's going on throughout the film, and because of the lack of dialogue and music, it encourages the viewers to really keep up with the protagonist, who is simultaneously trying to figure out what's going on as he finds himself on his own on a very strange island.
I think this film is very unique. It has no dialogue in it, so it is all told through the soundtrack and the sound effects and the sound design, and I think those were balanced really well between moments where there was no soundtrack to focus on what these characters are doing, even though it brought out the visual elements of the storytelling superbly, which is what you want to focus on in an animated film as well, and it combines with the sound effects and the sound design really well, as well as the soundtrack. I thought that the soundtrack that this wonderful filmmaker composed had great moments of building the tension and releasing the tension and creating some fantastical moments within this film that you kind of just lose yourself in.
The soundtrack, I don't know how to describe it. More or less, it makes you like part of the film in a way. Same with the sound design. When it comes to even like the tiniest details, as in like a rock falling or leaves moving in the wind, it's amazing. The amount of detail he's put into this is incredible.
While there's no voiceover in the film, this encourages the audience to engage hourly in the story, drawing attention to the authentic sound effects and chilling orchestral compositions that depict the characters' emotions.
The lack of noise, it's almost a completely silent film, and the very sparse soundtrack was implemented perfectly and introduced at the exact right moments just to add tension and to add ease to certain scenes when needed.
The story, I'd say, is quite simple yet unique. He gives it his own flair, and that is shown through his animation.
The animation style, while simplistic, I'm sure the budget was quite small. I think the animation style pulled off some really gorgeous scenery. There was a lovely focus on nature. There was a lot of naturalistic scenes, and I kind of got a Hayao Miyazaki vibes, especially from one of the characters. He particularly reminded me of No Face in Spirited Away, and I think that was just something I connected with, and I think I can definitely see that reflected in this film. For me, that made me very excited.
I thought the animation style and some of the scenery and backdrops was absolutely fantastic and astounding. It was incredibly beautiful and very well made and very well put together, which is even more shocking that only one person is on the creative team for this film.
Reminded me of a video game, especially once the character was running in certain areas along with this great beast that is chasing him. I found that very reminiscent of a game I used to play, Shadow of Colossus, which gave it a nostalgic feeling as well, along with being its own creation.
This film manages to tackle really interesting genres, like it's a kind of chase film and there's a certain energy to it through the whole picture. But what's remarkable is that it has a lot of heart as well, and when the music does appear, it only adds to the pulsating chase sequences. It doesn't try to manipulate the viewers or make them feel any sort of emotion. Throughout the film you feel completely attached to a character who we don't know much about, but we are totally with him in his attempts to find a way off this island and rejoin the rest of his companions.
This film felt very surreal and very dreamlike to me, particularly as the black, somewhat human-looking creature that the boy is running from seems to just appear in random places and move in unknown ways. And as well as this, a lot of the animals that are run into along the journey seem to multiply and then appear again as one animal and then appear again as a group. And I just thought it was a very interesting take and something that I really enjoyed about the film, actually.
It's a really surprisingly intense film through the images created. It's very visceral and at times quite dark. But ultimately, I think it's a film that has to be seen just for the incredible achievement of Zilbalodis, who for me is a filmmaker to watch over the next few years, because if this is anything to go by, his next set of pictures are going to be very special indeed.
I think this film is quite unique, and I would recommend you have a watch if you want to be slowly pulled into a world and find yourself in a story that may not exactly be so linear at times, but you can connect with it in your own way. I think it's very personal in that way, that you can put your own meaning and metaphors behind it.
Overall, I would give this film a 4 out of 5 as I thoroughly enjoyed it and thought it was incredibly creative, particularly as there was only one person creating this entire film. And I would recommend it to all age groups, as I feel like young children would enjoy the animation and seeing all the animals, whereas older people and adults would be more drawn in to the surreal, dreamlike aspect of the film.
Overall, I think this film is a great watch, an incredible story, absolutely interstellar animation. Overall, I give this a 5 out of 5.
Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.